It started with something almost everyone has lived through. A man is driving through the city when the lights flash behind him. He gets pulled over. The reason is small, an expired registration, the kind of thing that ends in a ticket and a sigh. But this stop doesn't end with a ticket. When the officers run his record, they find his license is suspended. Department policy means the car gets impounded, and before it's towed, they search it. Under the hood, they find 2 handguns. Now the small stop is a serious arrest. The man is handcuffed, and an officer reaches into his pocket and pulls out something that, in that moment, seemed like an ordinary object, a smartphone. What happens to that phone in the next hour is the entire reason we're here. Because the officer didn't bag it as evidence and wait. He started scrolling. And the question of whether he was allowed to do that, without a warrant, without a judge, without asking anyone, would travel all the way to the Supreme Court and rewrite the rules of privacy for an entire nation. So let me ask you before we go further, if that were your phone, on that day, do you think they'd have the right to read it? Hold your answer. The officers went through the phone the way you'd flick through your own. They opened photos. They read contacts. They scrolled messages. And they noticed something, a word that kept appearing, a term tied to a violent street gang, attached to entries in his contacts. They saw photographs, the man posing with a particular car. And that car connected him, in their eyes, to an earlier shooting, weeks before, that had nothing to do with this traffic stop. A later, deeper search of the phone's videos and pictures built a case the traffic stop alone never could. On the strength of what lived inside that little glass rectangle, the man was charged in connection with that shooting. He was convicted. He was facing a sentence that could swallow the rest of his life. Sit with that for a second. A man pulled over for expired plates was now staring down decades behind bars, and the bridge between those 2 worlds was built entirely out of what an officer found by swiping through a screen on the side of the road. Not a search of his home. Not a wiretap a judge had approved. A phone, in a pocket, read on a hunch. And his lawyers raised one argument that would echo far beyond him. All of that evidence, they said, came from a search that should never have happened, because the police needed a warrant to look inside his phone, and they didn't have one. The state's answer was simple and, at the time, backed by decades of law. When you arrest someone, you're allowed to search what's on them. So why would a phone be any different? To understand the fight, you have to understand the rule the police were standing on. It's called a search incident to arrest, and it's old, and for most of history it made perfect sense. When officers lawfully arrest you, they're allowed to search your body and the area within your reach, without a warrant, right then and there. The logic has 2 pillars. First, officer safety. They need to make sure you're not holding a weapon that could hurt them. Second, preserving evidence. They need to stop you from destroying something in your pocket before they can secure it. For 2 centuries, that meant the obvious things. They could open your wallet. They could look in a cigarette pack. They could check a bag you were carrying. In one well-known case, officers who had lawfully arrested a man opened a crumpled cigarette pack in his pocket, found drugs inside, and the court said that was perfectly fine, no warrant needed. The container was on him, the search was part of the arrest, end of story. Courts had blessed all of it, because the stuff a person physically carried was limited, a few items, nothing more. A pocket can only hold so much. And that, right there, is the hidden assumption the entire old rule was built on, that whatever you carry on your body is small. Finite. A handful of objects a person could reasonably have on them. For all of human history, that assumption was true. And then the smartphone quietly made it the most wrong idea in the law. Think about what is actually inside the phone in your pocket right now. Not a few items. Thousands of photographs, going back years. Every text message you've sent. Your emails. Your location history, a map of everywhere you've been. Your browser searches, which can reveal your fears, your health, your secrets, the questions you'd never say out loud. Your banking. Your medical apps. Private conversations with the people you love most. And it doesn't even stop at what's stored on the device. One tap opens apps wired to servers far away, pulling years of your life down from the cloud, messages, documents, and photos that aren't physically in the room at all. The phone is a key to a vault with no bottom. A phone isn't a thing in your pocket. It's a window into your entire mind, your relationships, and your past, the kind of total record that, a generation ago, would have required police to break into your home and ransack every drawer, closet, and filing cabinet to assemble. And here is the argument that searching a modern phone is not like emptying a pocket. It is like searching an entire house, and far more. Because your home doesn't contain a record of every place you visited last year. Your phone does. The court drew the line in a single, almost poetic phrase. It said that modern cell phones, for many Americans, hold the privacies of life. Calling a phone just another item in a pocket, the justices wrote, is like saying a ride to the moon is just another trip. The difference in scale is so vast it becomes a difference in kind. The old rule, built for a world of wallets and cigarette packs, simply could not stretch to cover a device that holds your whole existence. So the question landed, sharp and unavoidable, in front of the 9 most powerful judges in the country. On a divided court, famous for splitting bitterly on the hardest questions, the decision came down. And it was not close. It was unanimous. Every single justice agreed. The police generally may not search the digital contents of a cell phone seized during an arrest without getting a warrant first. 9-0. Think about how rare that is, liberals and conservatives, who agreed on almost nothing, all looking at this and arriving at the same place. The 2 old justifications for a warrantless search, they explained, just don't hold up for digital data. Officer safety. The data inside a phone can't physically hurt anyone. Once the phone is in police hands, no one is going to be stabbed by a text message. Destruction of evidence. The police can simply secure the phone, switch it off or seal it, and go ask a judge. And the Chief Justice ended the opinion with a line so plain it became famous. Faced with the question of what police must do before searching the phone of someone they've arrested, the answer, he wrote, is simple. Get a warrant. 2 words. A clean, bright line, drawn straight through the middle of the digital age. Not because phones make police work harder, the court openly admitted it would. But because privacy, the justices said, comes at a cost, and that cost is one a free society is supposed to pay. So what does this actually mean the next time it's your phone? It means that, as a rule, if you are arrested, the police cannot just go scrolling through your phone on the spot. To read what's inside, they generally have to go to a judge, show probable cause, and get a warrant with your phone named in it. That is a real, powerful shield, and most people have no idea it exists. But, and this matters just as much, a shield is not a force field. There are exceptions, and you should know them. The police can still physically hold your phone while they go get that warrant. In a genuine emergency, what the law calls exigent circumstances, like a child in immediate danger or a bomb about to go off, they may be able to search without one. If you unlock it and hand it over, that can count as consent, and consent waives the warrant requirement away. The rules can shift at international borders, where different standards apply, and some places treat a quick glance very differently from a deep forensic extraction that copies the entire device. And a court order can compel access in ways people rarely expect, and in some situations you can even be ordered to provide a passcode or a fingerprint to unlock the screen. The protection is strongest in exactly the situation the court ruled on, an ordinary arrest, and it gets thinner around the edges. Notice, too, what the ruling did not say. It didn't say your phone can never be searched, only that, as a rule, a neutral judge has to agree first. The warrant isn't a wall, it's a checkpoint, a fair-minded stranger standing between your private life and the raw power of the state. The deeper lesson of this case isn't just one rule about phones. It's that your rights don't update themselves automatically when technology changes. For years, the law treated the most intimate object you own like a cigarette pack, until someone pushed back, all the way to the top, and forced the Constitution to catch up. Which leaves the real question with you. If an officer asked to look through your phone tomorrow, would you know what to say? Tell me in the comments what you do, and what you think the rule should be.